There it is. So the big fight begins, and Big Jess moves easily into action. The mahogany-hued Dempsey circles, moving in and out with cat-footed quickness.
The Battlin Boxers were a fairly uninspired archetype coming out in 2013's Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy. They were cheap to pick up, fun to play, and not very good. But in my eyes, their biggest sin was their bland reference material, with all of the original burning knucklers being named after boxing equipment. And unfortunately, that would remain about the case until finally getting some personality injected into their veins with 2023's legendary duelist Soul Burning Volcano, one of the worst sets ever produced. Despite that, there was a glimmer of creativity amidst this sea of mediocrity with a brand new wave of support. Now, as mentioned, the majority of the monsters are named after boxing equipment. We have hand wraps, cestus, headgear, yoke, rib guard, and mitts. Another subsect of cards are just named after boxing techniques, such as various forms of counter-punching, the rabbit punch, switch hitter, and uppercut. The remaining cards are based on employment within the boxing world. We have our corner man, Michael Buffer, Dana White in 2 stages of his career, Bob Sapp, and Ronda Rousey.
Your hands have gotten ridiculously good.
We also have whatever the hell this thing is supposed to be. Really, we don't get much in the way of flavor outside of some fun effects. Until we reach the extra deck, that is. Number 79 was a bit strange. Nova Kaiser gained its name from the title given to the German Emperor. The reason for this is explained once we finally got C79, the General. Kaiser is the German translation of the name Caesar, and General Caesar was a renowned Roman general known for his prowess in battle. This also explains why cestus was used to name the 105s, as these were a hand covering of leather bands often loaded with letter iron and used by boxers in ancient Rome. But Battlin Boxer King Dempsey gave us something that we could finally sink our teeth into. William Harrison Dempsey was born June 24, 1895 in Manassa, Colorado, to parents Celia and Hiram Dempsey. As a child, he had to begin working early, dropping out of elementary school to assist with the family's finances. By the age of 16, he had left home, train hopping and sleeping in homeless encampments. This way of life left him desperate for money on many occasions. To remedy this, he would often visit saloons, announcing to the patrons, "I can't sing and I can't dance, but I can lick any SOB in the house." And if this challenge were accepted, bets would be made and the fight would ensue. According to Dempsey's autobiography, he very rarely lost any of these barroom fights. However, much of his early career as a boxer is left a mystery. Very little information was recorded about the fights of young Dempsey. According to his own recollection, William first fought as Jack Dempsey in 1914 at the age of 19 in Cripple Creek, Colorado. His older brother, Bernie, often fought under the pseudonym Jack Dempsey in honor of Nonpareil Jack Dempsey, the first holder of the World Middleweight Championship with a reputation for being unbeatable. At the time, it was common practice for fighters to use the names of boxers they admired when they stepped inside the squared circle. Bernie had accepted a fight against veteran George Copeland. After agreeing to the match, Bernie would learn that Copeland had recently sparred with world heavyweight champion Jack Johnson, and now nearing 40 years of age, made the strategic decision to back out of the fight. The brothers planned to swap Bernie for William, hoping none would be the wiser. But this plan fell apart immediately when the fans at ringside recognized young Dempsey was in fact not the man they had paid to see. The promoter of the event intervened, threatening to stop the fight entirely. Copeland, recognizing the small stature of the 20-pound lighter Dempsey, warned the promoter that he might, quote, "kill that skinny guy." But the fans paid for a fight, and so a fight would be had. Shockingly, Dempsey downed Copeland 6 times in the first round, twice in the second, and the war raged on until a final knockdown in the 7th led to the fight being ended. Jack Dempsey had made his first $100 as a professional boxer. From there, Dempsey would fight often, racking up win after win, interrupted by the occasional draw, and on very rare occasions being beaten. His efforts would eventually earn him a fight with the Potawatomi giant Jess Willard. This was expected to be a massive undertaking, with the 6'1", 187-pound Dempsey being severely outsized by the 6'6", 245-pound Willard. Once again, Dempsey would shock the world, absolutely brutalizing Willard and capturing the world title. The event was so stunning, questions about the legitimacy of the win would be hurled from journalists and fans alike. This eventually led to Dempsey's embittered former manager Jack Kearns making a statement in a 1964 issue of Sports Illustrated, claiming that he personally dipped Dempsey's hand in plaster of Paris before the fight. Since then, many sources have come out giving bits of evidence disproving these claims, and the legend of Jack Dempsey continued on. His great success in the ring was not based on cheating, but rather his unorthodox and aggressive fighting style, highlighted by his development of the Dempsey roll. This technique is performed by shifting your weight from side to side as you advance and throw punches, using the momentum of essentially falling forward before landing, only breaking your fall with a fist to the opponent's face. The art of King Dempsey is drawn performing the Dempsey roll, with faint outlines of his body shifting from side to side in the background of the image, while he adopts a stance similar to Ippo performing the same maneuver in the Fighting Spirit anime. Furthermore, his effect mimics the evasive maneuver by allowing all of your Battlin Boxers, apart from himself, to avoid targeting effects for the turn. The deck as a whole also creates a meta replication of the Dempsey roll in the way that it operates. The deck is working at its best when it's able to recycle resources and make a new copy of King Dempsey each turn, producing a sort of bob and weave type movement of the actual card on the field each time it's summoned. Jack Dempsey would pilot this innovative fighting style through many title defenses, filling venues larger than had ever been done in the sport previously. His fight with Georges Carpentier in 1921 generated the first ever $1 million gate in boxing history. This would be followed by multiple $1 million performances, leading to an eventual rematch with the man that had taken the world title from him in 1926. 1 year following the high-profile loss, he would face Gene Tunney in a matchup deemed the fight of the century. While Dempsey fought hard, he would eventually lose a decision in the main event of the first ever $2 million gate in entertainment history. This would mark the end of Jack Dempsey's boxing career. After his retirement, Dempsey would open a restaurant and nightclub in New York, Jack Dempsey's Broadway Restaurant, in 1935. Jack took great pride in the popularity of their cheesecake, noting that they had shipped cakes across the world. He continued with this operation until its closure in 1974. Over the course of his career, Dempsey earned roughly $4 million while competing throughout the 1920s. Adjusted for inflation, this is about $60 million today. Unfortunately, upon his death in 1983, his estate was valued at around $250,000, or just under $800,000 today. This came as a result of him losing the majority of his fortune during the 1929 stock market crash that led to the Great Depression in 1932. During this period of time, stock prices would fall by about 90% and would not return to pre-crash prices until the 1950s. While his wealth faded, his legacy never did, and now it grows even further as he is immortalized yet again in cardboard and ink in our favorite game. And as small a tribute as this may seem, I'd like to think the king would be honored. His beliefs regarding the people that supported him and fueled his burning spirit were known to be humble and appreciative. I couldn't put it into better words than the man himself, so I'll leave you with my favorite quote by Jack Dempsey. "A champion owes everybody something. He can never pay back for all the help he got, for making him an idol."
At the start. The champion was knocked down 7 times in the first round. The challenger left the ring and had to be called back. Willard lost his title while sitting in his corner. Every minute is crammed with drama, as the ring is now with yelling, excited men. Dempsey's in everyone's minds and hearts. Dempsey the killer, Dempsey the champion. They'll see him in action for 8